Hello, everybody. I thought it would be interesting to share my experience using the app, Khemset, and kind of never occurred to me to make a video like this, but uh, kind of obvious once I realized that it could be interesting for people. So let's go ahead and get into it. So when I start off, I like to take some deep breaths, and as I advise myself here, breathe deeply, listen to my heart, and let my sixth sense come alive. So I just try to scan the board in the early goings and just try to get a sense of like what I'm feeling and really connect to the present moment. Sort of not getting a super clear signal. Uh, just go ahead and pick. Okay. I try to like draw some association between what I'm feeling and what comes out. I did, in all honesty, feel like it was more likely to be a spade or a club there. So the fact that it was a diamond is interesting. It's not super uncommon that in the beginning, as I'm sort of acquainting myself with the experience, just warming up in a sense. And sometimes I actually do use this app for that purpose. Um, After I arrive at the casino, before I leave my car and go play, I'll just, blitz out a game or two. But for the purpose of this particular video, I'll play more slowly. Uh, Go with a heart. Okay. I mean, in all honesty, a lot of it is really just, harnessing that feeling ability and trying to tap into the super intelligence of your heart and what it already knows. Okay. At this moment in time, I'm really just like moving my eyes around and just seeing if anything sort of jumps out. Kind of feeling something in this area. Something I do when I'm like sort of out of sync sometimes is just try to move around the board a bit and I just try to let like not really muscle memory because it's not a muscle memory oriented experience, but just to try to develop some sort of cadence, some sort of flow for the experience. Um, I think that that can be useful in poker. Is like if nothing's working for you, then like doing something is better than doing nothing. But of course, forcing it is not good either. Yeah, this is seemingly turning out. I mean, that was pretty nice. I moaned it in. Apparently that works in Chemset too. It's always interesting towards the end because you can obviously, with the way the game is scored, get a lot of points, and it, in theory should be a little bit easier to discern between three cards as opposed to 20 or 30. So initially, I was just gonna sort of snap click the dime, and then I paused. I'm not sure if that was reactionary or actually what I'm. Yeah, let's go for it. Okay. All right, not terrible. Let's run it back. At one point, I thought about adding sounds to the cards, so each suit and each rank would have their own distinct tones, so each card would have a unique tonal quality. Couldn't really quite figure out the right way to do it, but if that's something that anyone else thinks is interesting and would potentially be useful, uh, happy to in that direction. Something you might notice is that if I get a perfect, I try, it's not even really something I try to do, but I typically don't really react. And I think that it's helpful to train your subconscious that um, being able to accurately discern uh, what card is coming is not some monumental act or achievement. I think it serves two purposes. One is that um, it doesn't, sort of bring pride to the forefront and let your ego become overwhelmed with it. Um, and the other is, it just sort of trains you that like, yeah, this is normal. This is the point of the experience is just to bring clarity to this mystery of this physical life experience that we're having. I almost clicked the deuce. I felt the low heart. That was funny. And I think that's sometimes how it is. Like, and same thing in poker. Like, sometimes you really have strong, or I'll speak for myself. I really have strong, intuitive impulses. Just like, yes, this is definitely a thing right now. And, when you have higher conviction, obviously you should, lean into it, further. And sometimes you're not particularly high conviction. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just, sometimes it comes through really strong. And ideally, when, something comes through really strong, you're able to sort of strike that balance between, is this something that I'm biased towards wanting to believe is true, and this is a thought and my mind is tricking me? Or is this, an aligned, heart-centered truth that I'm just observing is coming across my consciousness at this moment? It's funny because I had the thought there. I'm like, well, the fives are just clearly the highest EV. Like, but I think the point of the game is just to really lean into the feeling aspect. But I was like, I actually do feel like it's going to be the five. So it's nice when it all comes together. It's funny, right as I clicked the deuce, I could feel like, no, it's not it. And there is a very small lag time in between, or rather, just after the action is taken. And sometimes it works like this in poker as well. It's like, if I'm like, should I value bet this? Should I bluff this? Like sort of close decisions. Should I three bet this hand pre? Sometimes right after I make it, there's that moment of clarity. And it's like, oh, yep, this wasn't gonna work out, or yeah, this was clearly the right decision. And again, it's not always one to one, but it is fascinating how uh if we just sort of look at things through um quantum mechanics perspective, once the waveform collapses from possibility uh, into lived experience, it's like, okay, now you've made that decision. You've cut off those other timeline branches, and you're here now, and then you can kind of feel, you orient, I would say, or at least that's how I feel about it. You orient to that experience you're having. Oh well, a bit stubborn. All right, I'll play one more. I might go a little bit quicker here. I'm getting a bit sleepy, but I felt inspired to make a video like this. I sort of feel slightly out of sync. Maybe I'll just moan again. I've had the experience in poker as well. When you're a little bit tired, it's not always the easiest to lock in. I think that's something I find really challenging about, like, let's say the World Series, playing a lot of volume. It's a lot of fun to play consistently and know that, if you bust a tournament one day, there's another great tournament the next day in general. Um, for me, there's uh, a lot of decline in my ability as a series as long as the WSOP, for example, extends. So like, for the first couple weeks, I'm pretty used to playing like the PGT series for around 2 weeks throughout the course of the year. But playing so consistently over the course of 7 weeks, and I guess everyone deals with this, right? No one's going to be like extremely sharp, or rather, let's say, no one's going to be as sharp at week 7 as they would be in week 1. I do think that, like, in the sense of warming up, there can be like kind of a sweet spot, maybe week 2, week 3, but it's quite challenging for me generally. I had a conversation with a friend about this today as well. Uh, just how it's, yeah, very demanding. These eyes got to be coming home soon, right? Where they at? I'm definitely not playing my absolute best right now. That's okay. Two decent games and one pretty piss poor. But yeah, just thought it'd be interesting to share. And if this is of interest to people, people like playing it, then I'd be happy to do something as a group at some point. I think it'd be fun to kind of, just sort of get the group experience, uh, it, you know, as it pertains to this type of game, because it would be fascinating to see if we're feeling similar things, if we can sort of as a collective shift the likely outcomes. I know there's been a lot of research done on groups of people changing RNGs, so that would be fascinating. Yeah, let me know what you think. Appreciate y'all, and see you soon.